As all of you know, yesterday and the day before we had a Politburo meeting, and in that Politburo meeting we discussed the current political situation, the various issues of importance, and on these various matters I'll just briefly explain what is our decision. The all opposition party meeting at Patna was attended by 15 opposition parties, and the general consensus there was that we should all work together to save the character of the Indian Republic, that is, its secular democratic republic, the Constitution of India, democracy, civil rights and human rights, which are guaranteed by the Constitution as fundamental rights. In defense of all this, to safeguard, it is necessary today to ensure that the Modi government, which is mounting an assault on all these aspects, they are separated from controlling the government and state power. So with that objective, all the parties decided that we shall cooperate. And how that cooperation will be, that will be carried forward in subsequent meetings. And it is already decided that we will meet sometime in the middle of July in Shimla, and the process of meetings will continue. As far as the CPIM is concerned, we have suggested a three-pronged approach to attain this objective. Firstly, on issues of national importance, like defense of our Constitution, against the politics of hate and terror that are sharpening communal polarization, in defense of democratic rights and civil liberties, on all such issues, that we should conduct a national campaign jointly by going to various important centers in the country and holding public meetings. Second, on issues of people's livelihood. We have the highest levels of unemployment now. Inflation continues to wreak havoc on people's livelihoods. The overall economy is still not progressing the way it should in order to provide relief to the people. Inequalities are soaring, with 1% of our population cornering more than 40% of the wealth that was added to the country in the last 2 years, while the bottom 50% gets only 3% of this wealth. So rich getting richer, poor getting poorer, and all such issues to conduct protest actions all over the country, and that all those who are willing to join, all the parties, they must jointly conduct such protest actions. Thirdly, in every state, the situation is different, and given the concrete conditions in each state, the parties who are present there in Patna decided that talks should begin at the state level in order to work out electoral arrangements. It could be a front like it's there in Tamil Nadu today, or in Bihar today, or in Maharashtra today. It could be electoral adjustments. It could be electoral understandings. But whatever it be, depending on the concrete situation in the states, the process of beginning to arrive at such an understanding must begin immediately. And that will naturally be dependent on the state level specific situations, which are not the same. So this is what we think is the direction in which we should proceed in order to ensure that we can safeguard the character of our republic, the Constitution, democracy, and democratic rights and civil liberties of the people. So this was the first issue that was discussed. Then the issue of the continuing ethnic violence in Manipur. The Politburo expressed its very, very grave concern that it is now continuing for more than 7 weeks, and there seems to be no abatement of this violence. Even today, there have been attacks that are going on, the armories are being raided, the arms and ammunition that is being seized is being used. It has reached an extent where drones are being used by opposing groups to check on each other's positions. Police wireless sets are being used by them to communicate. It's a situation which has been allowed to drift to such a crisis point by the Modi government. And we are shocked. In fact, we are very, very deeply shocked that the Prime Minister has not uttered a word on the situation so far. The Home Minister goes there after 26 days, sets up some peace committees that are completely useless and infructuous. The all-party meeting that was called on the 23rd, that produced no results, and the government was obdurate on the question of removing the Chief Minister of Manipur, Biren Singh, whose complicity and incompetence has allowed this situation to degenerate to this levels. So the CPIM immediately demands that this government, state government, must be dismissed. This is the double-engine government that is so much propagated by the BJP Prime Minister, Home Minister. And this is the state of its affairs there in Manipur. This government must go, Biren Singh government. That's the first step. And then all measures must be undertaken by the Modi government to ensure that peace and normalcy returns. We don't think that this is a matter in which there can be any prevarication. This is a very sensitive border state, and it has implications that go beyond what we are discussing now, that have the danger of going beyond. So therefore, it has to be urgently addressed. And the BJP's political bargaining with one identity group or the other, and they refer to now try and communalize the situation by saying that this is a clash between the Hindu Maithis and the Christian cookies, is only going to worsen the matter further. In the interest of the country, the BJP must stop its communal polarization tactics in Manipur and restore peace and normalcy. That's absolutely important. Thirdly, with regard to Prime Minister Modi's visit to the USA. This visit to the USA is very clear that the Biden administration in the USA has prioritized its relations with India as an important element of the US hegemonic drive, global hegemonic drive, which requires that USA should be able to isolate China. So India, the USA feels, is an important element in that process. And the Modi government has willingly surrendered to US pressures and become a very subordinate junior partner of US imperialism's global strategies. The deals that were struck during this visit are mainly military and defense deals. India has already been declared as a major defense partner of the USA. And now the production of these jet engines, joint production of jet engines in India, comes on top of all these earlier deals and agreements, and many more are in the offing. So in the process of wanting India to be strong to take on China in the region, US administration and Biden administration has completely ignored and glossed over the human rights record and the decline in democracy in India to the status of being characterized as an electoral autocracy. This has entirely been not merely ignored but completely bypassed by the Biden administration. But this is an issue that has been raised by various sections in the USA. 75 congressmen have written on these issues to the President, including former President Barack Obama, who is being trolled by the RSS BJP here in India for what he said that he would have told Prime Minister Modi on the human rights record of India. All this clearly shows that there is in the USA a public opinion that has been built up, dismayed at the falling levels of democracy and human rights in India. As far as Prime Minister Modi is concerned, क्या वहां तक चला गया, सुना गया? हाँ, तो पीजी का रेट बढ़ गया। हाँ? Included after 2 years from 2016 that uniformity is not equality. We have been championing the CPIM for equal rights for women of all communities, and we have been champion for all citizens irrespective of caste, creed or gender. And this can be achieved through reform of personal or customary laws applicable to different communities, with active discussion and democratic participation of both men and women of these communities. That is the process that needs to be initiated, not to impose from above a uniform civil code. What it actually means is also very, very unclear. So therefore, we have said that this exercise is meaningless. You ensure that people of that community, and that is the way it should proceed. The Politburo, the next issue was the Politburo demanded that the RBI withdraw its circular, whereby it is permitting now to allow willful defaulters of loans taken from the banks to negotiate with the banks a compromise settlement, meaning they will not return the full loan, but they will return part of the loan. Now, what is the definition of willful defaulter? A willful defaulter is a person who has the capacity to repay, but is not repaying. That is, he or she is committing a criminal offense. Instead of taking action against those who commit criminal offenses, you are legalizing the process of loot of people's savings and bank deposits. Now, this is something completely unacceptable. The Politburo demanded that the properties of these willful defaulters be confiscated and recover all these loans. Already more than 11 lakh crores of rupees of loans have been written off by the Modi government. 11 lakh crores. And now, with this legalization, more loot of people's savings. This is something not acceptable. The next issue the Politburo decided was that in a most undemocratic manner, the centre has directed, Modi government has directed the Food Corporation of India not to sell rice to the state governments. This is absurd. I mean, we've never heard of this. I mean, Food Corporation of India's job is that when the state governments require it for the public distribution system or any scheme that the state government may want to use, they draw upon this, what has been procured, and this is something that the central government has unilaterally now stopped. Clearly, this is aimed at non-BJP state governments, who will not be permitted now to implement the promises that they made to the people of providing relief to them. Now, if this is the case, we think this is absolutely undemocratic, and immediately the supply of rice to the state governments must be restored. The Prime Minister and the centre draw from the same procured stock in order to fulfill the schemes of providing 5 kg of rice to people below the poverty line. But why are you and how can you deprive the states? So this is something that has to be immediately restored. The other issue that the Politburo discusses, a very dangerous rule has now been adopted and being implemented by the central government. A rule that is forcing the state governments to install this smart meters for electricity consumption. And smart meters are those that is with a prepaid arrangement. That is, you pay beforehand what you're likely to consume, and if these sort of things come in, and these meters become compulsory as they are now, this rule declares, the state government's responsibility to distribute power to the consumers, that distribution is now to be done by private corporates, and these machines will be the method through which they collect their profits and their revenue. Who are the biggest beneficiaries among the private corporates? There is no need to tell you, all of you know. Including these machines, what you call the smart meters. The smart meters are also produced by the same corporate who will do the distribution of electricity. The Adani Group, since they are the ones, the meters are produced by them, the electricity will be distributed by them, and the profits will be garnered by them. And the state abdicates its responsibility. This is unacceptable. Then we are very concerned about the manner in which delimitation exercise was undertaken in Assam. Normally, delimitation is done for the country as a whole. Under special circumstances, they did this for J&K earlier, now for Assam. And what is very strange in Assam is that this delimitation was done on the basis of 2001 census, when today we are in 2023. The population has changed, the population mix has changed, the population numbers have changed, and on what basis is this scientific, we don't know. And now even normally delimitation is done by constituting a delimitation commission. No commission was constituted. The Election Commission of India, they conducted this exercise unilaterally, and they did it. And clearly the whole exercise dovetails to the communal polarization that the BJP is seeking in the northeast, particularly in Assam. And this delimitation exercise is aimed at that. That's why it was rushed through before the elections, and they want to do it. This, we think, is not only unscientific, but it is politically loaded to generate a lot of dissatisfaction and mischief. Then this, most unfortunately, is actually a dismaying situation that the wrestlers of India, who earned India prestige by winning medals at international events, their protest against sexual harassment by the chief of that association, that continues without the government responding adequately. Even the POSCO case that was registered, there so much time was provided to proceed on that FIR that the complainant, a minor girl, could be persuaded, so to speak, to withdraw the complaint. We think this is not acceptable under the POSCO Act. The issue FIR has to be acted upon immediately. But no, that was not done. You give them time so that they are persuaded to withdraw. And this is something unacceptable. We have reiterated that the head of the Wrestlers Federation of India, a BJP MP, multiple times MP, on the basis of these charges must be arrested, and the criminal proceedings against them must proceed. Now you have the West Bengal panchayat elections that are going on. So far, 10 people have died in the violence, including one very young, active CPIM leader, Mansoor Alam. And Mansoor Alam was attacked and finally succumbed to his injuries in Dinajpur, the state of Bengal. And this politics of terror and violence, through which the last elections in 2018 were conducted, that is what is sought to be repeated now. But the difference this time is that there is people's resistance that has grown. People's resistance has grown. Last time there were 34% of the seats that went uncontested. Now that has come down to almost 2/3 of that figure. We'll know the final thing soon. But it's by more than 2/3 it has declined. That means the resistance is there. The people are on the move for a people's panchayat, not an official panchayat that is sponsored through violence and terror by the TMC, the state government, with the connivance of the police and the administration. So we have demanded that all peace-loving forces who value democracy, they must all together resist this politics of terror and violence and ensure that there is a people's panchayat system that is elected in Bengal. Finally, we find it, Politburo found it very strange that the national family health surveys that are periodically conducted, for the 6th of that survey, very mysteriously and with some purpose obviously, the Modi government has directed them to delete the questions on the disability issue, which is normally collected by the earlier, all the 5 surveys which were conducted earlier. And disability related questions, they have now said that they will not be part of the survey. We think this is absolute discrimination against the disabled people. By law, they are protected, they have their rights, and therefore the disability related question should be restored as part of the survey. So these are the important issues we have discussed in the Politburo. The next Central Committee meeting is scheduled now to be held from the 4th to the 6th of August. And they will carry forward this process of how to concretize the pooling of the maximization of the pooling of the anti-BJP votes, or in other words, necessary to safeguard India's constitution, democracy and the character, the secular democratic character of our republic. That is the major priority, and for that we shall continue to work in cooperation with all the parties which are willing to come forward to safeguard our constitution, democracy and the character of the Indian Republic. So these are some of the major issues. So now if you have questions.
चेयरपर्सन थी, उन्होंने कहा है कि पश्चिम बंगाल में सीपीएम, कांग्रेस और बीजेपी वोट कर रखी है, वोट नहीं उससे बड़ा कुछ है और वो उसका पर्दाफाश करेगी। इसका आप कैसे देखते हैं? 15 पार्टियों में से आपकी जो थी वहाँ पे वो ये कह रही है आपके बारे में।
अरे हर स्टेट के अंदर जो मैं कह रहा था अलग अलग परिस्थितियाँ हैं। हम चाहते हैं कि जो भी हमारी पार्टी की तरफ से हमारी इरादा पूरा साफ है और स्पष्ट है। आज के दिन अगर हमारी देश की धर्मनिरपेक्ष जनतंत्र का गणराज्य को बचाना और देश के अंदर जनतंत्र और हमारी कानूनी व्यवस्था जो संवैधानिक व्यवस्था है उसको बरकरार रखना है, तो आज ज़रूरी है कि भाजपा को सत्ता से, सरकार से अलग रखे। इसके लिए हम तैयार हैं, जो भी साथ आकर काम करने के लिए तैयार है। जो तैयार नहीं है वो नहीं आएंगे, लेकिन जो तैयार है वो आइए, क्योंकि हम समझते हैं कि आज के दिन देशभक्ति का प्रतीक है, देशभक्ति का, कि हमारे देश के चरित्र को हम बचाए, बरकरार रखें और मजबूत करें, एक धर्मनिरपेक्ष जनतंत्र का गणराज्य। तो इसके लिए हम बाकी सब के साथ चलने के लिए तैयार है। अब कौन सी पार्टी क्या करेगी अपने राज्यों में, वो तय करे। अगर कहीं पर भी अगर जनतंत्र को इस तरीके से उसकी कत्ल करने की इरादा है, जैसे हो रहा है बंगाल में, जनतंत्र और जनतांत्रिक व्यवस्था का कत्ल हो रही है वहां पे, हिंसा की राजनीति के आधार पर, उसके खिलाफ जरूर हम लड़ेंगे, उसके खिलाफ हम लड़ेंगे, क्योंकि जनतंत्र को बचाना आज हम समझते हैं कि अनिवार्य है देश की जनता के लिए। तो वो हम लड़ेंगे। जो जनतंत्र खत्म करना चाहता है वो कहते हैं कि वो हमें खत्म करेंगे, तो चलिए जनता को तय करने दें। और अगर निष्पक्ष चुनाव कराएंगे और पुलिस और अपनी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को का दुरुपयोग करके आप जो है निष्पक्ष ना होने दें चुनाव, तो अलग बात है, उसके खिलाफ भी लड़ेंगे। लेकिन सवाल यहाँ पे स्पष्ट है कि बंगाल के अंदर आज ये जनतंत्र के ऊपर जो हमला हो रहा है, जनतंत्र का जो हत्या हो रहा है, उसे बंगाल को बचाना है। इसलिए लोगों की एक लोकप्रिय पंचायती राज जरूरी है बंगाल में, उसके लिए चुनाव हो रहे हैं।
इसके लिए जिम्मेदार कौन है? बंगाल में जो हमला हो रहा है ये के ऊपर है।
जो सरकार सत्ता में है बंगाल में, वही तो दुरुपयोग कर सकती ना पुलिस और प्रशासन को, तो और कौन जिम्मेदार है? स्पष्ट है, आपके सवाल में ही जवाब है।
तो वहाँ बीजेपी आपके साथ है, इसका मतलब
बीजेपी
आपके साथ है?
बिल्कुल नहीं, बीजेपी के खिलाफ पूरे मुल्क में है और हम रहेंगे, क्योंकि वही है मुख्य कारण जो देश में खत्म किया जा रहा है। देश में खत्म किया जा रहा है जनतंत्र बीजेपी के हाथ से। बंगाल के अंदर भी बीजेपी की नकल करना चाहती है टीएमसी, तो वो उनकी जवाबदारी उनकी है, हमारी नहीं। तो बीजेपी के खिलाफ है, और बीजेपी जिस तरीके से जनतंत्र की हत्या कर रही है, वही हत्या कोई और पार्टी करना चाहती है किसी भी प्रदेश में, हम उसके भी खिलाफ लड़ेंगे, स्पष्ट है।
ये सिचुएशन में बंगाल में कोई अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो सकता है?
अंडरस्टैंडिंग बिल्कुल है, कांग्रेस, लेफ्ट और बाकी सेक्युलर फोर्सेस के बीच में बिल्कुल है अंडरस्टैंडिंग। अरे टीएमसी पहले जनतंत्र को खत्म करने की बात पे वो शामिल है। भाजपा को खत्म नहीं करने देंगे हम जनतंत्र को, लेकिन हम करेंगे, ये कैसे हो सकता है? टीएमसी का कहना है, हम मने टीएमसी की बात है। अगर तो ये कैसे हो सकता है? अगर जनतंत्र की बचाव करनी है तो आइए, मतलब उसको उसकी संरक्षण तो करें आप, और हिंसा के आधार पर राजनीति करें। और जैसे मैं बता रहा था, अभी तक 10 जाने गए इस मतलब चुनाव में। खतरा यही है कि क्योंकि आज जो है इसका विरोध भी हो रहा है, लोगों के अंदर एक प्रतिवाद भी शुरू हुआ ये व्यवस्था, ये परिस्थिति के खिलाफ, तो हिंसा बढ़ने का भी बहुत ही अनफॉर्चुनेट संभावना है। लेकिन वो अब चाहते ना हो, जनतांत्रिक तरीके से निष्पक्ष चुनाव कराइए ना, डर किस बात की है? जनता तय करेगी कौन सही है कौन गलत।
Regarding Manipur, you spoke about the present regime's failures in administration. But similarly, the administration there is saying that during October Socialist there were influx of outside. Now, within that particular region, there is ethnic, there is religious, there is geographical problems. Do you think a political approach or solution is possible?
Of course it's possible. Well, the first thing is, for this government, everything that has happened is because of the last 70 years. So earlier governments are responsible for everything that is happening today. What they have created themselves, the BJP. Is it a fact or not, the reports that have been published by the media on the Assam Chief Minister and the BJP General Secretary in charge of the Northeast, having had discussions with the Kuki militants for electoral support? Was it the previous government who did this? So there are many of these questions that have to be answered by them. So they have to answer these questions, and the answers to these questions will provide a political settlement. I mean, this is something that has been going on for a long time, and everybody knows, right from the time of Manipur's accession and declaration as a state in India. That didn't happen right from the time Indian Constitution was adopted. It came in later. Under Article 371, there are special provisions for Manipur. So you have had all this history. So on that basis of that, that has to be done not by playing identity politics, trying to stoke communal divisions, and trying to create a communal polarization by defining one ethnic group as Hindu and one as Christian, and then have that sort of a conflict situation to help polarization upon which the BJP thrives. So we'd like to know what is the government's plan. I mean, what is it? How is it planning to end this? The entire situation of violence that continues in Manipur, and it's not abating.
In the all-party meeting, most of the political parties suggested to the government to send an all-party delegation to Manipur. Do you think that central government will accept your suggestion?
I believe they already rejected. The central government has already rejected, saying that no all-party delegation to Manipur. And the BJP is very ironic, you see, when the situation in Jammu and Kashmir was, when the time of the stone pelting, etc., all those, on that situation, the BJP was along with all of us demanding the government send an all-party delegation. And under the UPA government, we all went. We went, and that gave a lot of confidence to the people in Jammu and Kashmir. I don't know why this government is very strange here, and if the all-party delegation goes, maybe they don't want all parties to know what is the actual situation of what has happened under their double-engine government. Apparently, the Home Minister ruled out either dismissal of the Biren Singh government, removal of Mr. Biren Singh as Chief Minister, or the all-party delegation. That is what the report suggests.
CPIM raising voice for media freedom and freedom of expression, and even questioning the Modi government's actions for suppressing the dissenting voice. At the same time, in state in the 𝑧𝒃𝒂𝒄𝒍 government is taking actions against cases against journalists.
It's not the same time and what you're saying, but it's not the same the CPIM State Secretary has answered that question in Kerala. And there's proceedings that are going on. I mean, the police proceedings are going on. So on that basis, as far as CPIM is concerned, there's no question of any suppression or action against the media. Irrespective of whatever the media may provoke, our reaction is not that of saying you suppress the media. No. That's why you can go on trying to provoke us, but we won't ever say that you suppress the media. But if you violate the law, that's not our business. Alliance will be, you see, that's why I said all the alliances, adjustments or arrangements will all be state level. The state level adjustments, because each state the situation is different. In Kerala, for instance, it is the CPM-led LDF versus the Congress-led UDF. And because of that straight fight, the BJP doesn't get even a single MLA, leave an MP. Neighboring Tamil Nadu, it is a united front, not only electoral adjustments, it's a front led by the DMK, because of which the BJP is reduced to one or not more than that number of MPs. In Maharashtra, you have the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi. Likewise, you have different states have different situations and different combinations will emerge. So, but the state level, all these understandings and adjustments will come. And on that basis, at the All India level, like it's always been in India's, if we go through our electoral history, it is only after the elections that the United Front was formed in different ways. It's only after the elections in every state, there were some degree of some adjustments, fronts, understandings, etc. Likewise, the same thing will happen now. Up to the TMC, do they want democracy? They can't say they want democracy in India, therefore oust BJP, but no democracy in Bengal. That's not acceptable for us. The rule of law, Constitution of India and democracy are, sacrosanct as far as we are concerned.
After the election, sir, after the election, if there is a combination that comes to rule the TMC's part, your party also.
Let us see then what sort of situation comes in. That is, you see, after the election, we fight the Congress party-led UDF tooth and nail in Kerala. In 2004, out of the 61 members of the left that were elected to the Lok Sabha, 57 were elected by defeating the Congress candidate. But then we supported Manmohan Singh government. So it all depends. For the sake of India, in the interest of India, Indian democracy, the character of our republic, that we'll see as the situation comes in.
Sir, in Telangana, you are supporting BRS.
Huh?
In Telangana, you are supporting BRS, but BRS is not part of the opposition challenge.
No, we are not supporting BRS.
Last by-election.
But that by-election, in one election will be supported. Again, there, what was the yardstick? Who is best suited to defeat the BJP? It is by that yardstick we go. In Karnataka elections recently held, the Janata Dal Secular supported 3 of our 4 candidates with the 4 seats that we fought. We supported some of the Janata Dal Secular candidates, but in all other constituencies our call was the objective is to defeat the BJP. Whoever is in a position to do that, we will support them and strengthen the chances. That's the same approach we had in Telangana also.
Also, at the opposition meeting, did you get a feel from Trinamool that they are willing to change, they are ready to save democracy? At the opposition meeting,
Killing 10 people doesn't demonstrate that. And our Mansoor Alam, a young man in the 20s, early 30s, I mean, if you hack them to death, how do you show that they're changing?
Unlike right now, that it might be the patriotic duty of opposition parties to come together and save the Constitution of India, and that this patriotism was something that is also likely to be featuring in the name of this alliance that is coming together. The patriotic democratic alliance.
We haven't thought of that. I believe some names are floating around, some people are suggesting. But we are saying, see, defense of our constitution, defense of the character of the Indian Republic. What else is this except other than being patriotic? So it's inbuilt. When you say defend the secular democratic character of India, it is patriotism. Defend the constitution of India, it is patriotism. So that is ingrained. But whether the name will contain that or not, that I can't say. That will, as it happens, we'll know.
Since we have been very active in drafting these statements and their opposition statements, that's why this is what
all statements and all declarations, they'll be drafted when the time comes. And at that time you ask me that question, I'll tell you.
Sir, what is your comment on 86 right around the same time as opposition.
What on?
The president in Kerala is
When the opposition meeting was happening, the CPIM government in Kerala arrested 𝒂𝒄𝒂𝒍. Does it have an impact on this?
Nothing. It's got nothing to do with politics. There is a police investigation going on. The police case going on there. And unlike the BJP, unlike the Union Home Ministry, we don't direct the police to proceed against whom and what and there's arrest. That's not our character, and we never do it, and that can't be done also in a state like Kerala.
Congress has accused you of setting it out as a political motivation.
Yeah, but then the Kerala Congress president also offered to resign. If there's nothing wrong, why did he offer to resign? So there are lots of issues that need to be proven, no? So let us see, the investigations are going on.
Comrade, did you notice an issue regarding the fake certificate of SFI comrades in Kerala?
I don't know the details there. What do you expect me to ask about the country? There's India also. No, some death certificate, some age certificate of some SFI candidate in some college in Kerala. How would that general secretary know? Tell me.
Do you think this is not a major issue?
Huh? I have no idea what you're talking about. I know neither that information. Please continue your explorations in Kerala. I'm sure you have your unit there.
Regarding the Delhi audience issue, 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 Party is asking again and again for a clear stand towards Congress. They are not even responding. What's your take on that? Even
why should I give a take? I mean, my party is clear. We opposed it. In fact, we hit the streets in Delhi opposing that ordinance. And in the meeting in Patna, all parties, let me underline, all parties, including the Congress leaders, they said that nobody who supports democracy and the rule of law in India can support this ordinance. That is including the Congress, this was said. But everybody there said that this meeting is on the question of cooperation between the opposition parties. This is not a meeting where the agenda is either the Delhi ordinance or the situation in Manipur or Prime Minister Modi's visit to the USA. All were happening at the same time. That was not the agenda. The agenda was cooperation between the political parties. That's why we said this issue. But when that issue was raised, every party there present in the meeting said that they cannot support this ordinance.
But how do you see 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 Party's statement soon after the meeting, accusing Congress of doing not publicly announcing support for the ordinance, and they didn't attend the press conference?
They wanted the Congress to issue a public statement the same day. The Congress said, this is not the agenda. When the time comes, we'll say that. So it's between them, what their perception is. And you can't tell any party to say that, no, you do it now. And when that is up to them. But anyway, to 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 Party also, and our appeal to them, is that in the larger interest of the country, and what we discussed so far, in defense of our constitution, character of our republic, they should be, along with all the rest of the opposition, who is interested, committed in order to carry forward this struggle.
Sir. Yes, sir.
पटना में जो मीटिंग हुई सर आपके और कांग्रेस के बीच में सिटिंग के बीच डीएमसी के बीच बीजेपी लोगों के पास एक नैरेटिव ले जाती है कि ये त्रिपुरा में तो साथ होते हैं लेकिन केरला में नहीं होते हैं, तो ये गठबंधन नहीं कट बनता है, इसके क्या कहना है?
भाई देखिए, गठबंधन भी जो भी, अब वो खुद क्या कर रहे हैं उसके बारे में मैं बोलूँगा नहीं। वो कब किसके साथ है, कब किसके साथ रहे हैं, कब किसके साथ जाएंगे, मतलब उनके लिए ना कोई भी उनका प्रिंसिपल नहीं है। वो ये सवाल किस तरीके से उठा रहे हैं अलग बात, लेकिन मकसद क्या है? आज हमारे देश के संवैधानिक व्यवस्था का संरक्षण करना है। आज हमारे देश के अंदर जो हमारा गणराज्य है उसका चरित्र, जो एक धर्मनिरपेक्ष जनतांत्रिक है, उसके चरित्र को की संरक्षण करना या नहीं, उसके लिए जो भी तैयार है वो करने के लिए हम उनके साथ जाएंगे। और जहां पर ठोस परिस्थितियां हैं अलग से, वो ठोस परिस्थितियों के आधार पर वो राज्यों में होगा निर्णय। जैसे मैं पहले भी बता रहा था आपको, 2004 में 61 जो हमारे सांसद लोकसभा में चुनकर आए वामपंथी के, चारों पार्टियों के, 61 में से 57 कांग्रेस को हरा कर आए। लेकिन चुनाव के बाद देश के हित में हमने मनमोहन सिंह सरकार की समर्थन की कि नहीं? अगर हम नहीं करते तो वो सरकार नहीं बनाते। तो ये है सवाल साफ। ओके, थैंक यू।
सर, एक